So if you asked me this time last week if I'd be releasing a video today, my answer would have been an unequivocal no. Absolutely no. There was no plan whatsoever to make any video today. However, having spoken to a very well-placed recruiter on Friday, it would be completely remiss of me to delay coming to you any further than I have already and to stay with this news any more than I have already. Having spoken to this person, she was the bearer of good news, which then makes me the bearer of good news for you as a registered nurse, as a professional nurse, as an RGN, whatever title you use to refer to yourself. Stay tuned as I tell you about this exciting news, which is time sensitive, that needs you to respond and not waste any more time and stop wondering whether you can be helped or not. You've come to the right place. So stay subscribed, stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Daphne, an ICU critical care nurse working in London, South African by origin. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for staying with us. Stay with us till the end of the video, because at the end of the video, I will show you what this recruiter, or at least her candidates, are paying you back for your expenses. And we talk about what in this video that I've linked, I talked about the possible cost that you might incur when you come over to the UK. However, this is a very unique opportunity where a lot of the expenses are going to be refunded to you and some are going to be paid upfront for you as a registered nurse. And this is a video in which I say to you, I am doing everything possible to get in contact with other recruiters, with employers for similar opportunities for healthcare assistants. So please do not feel excluded, do not feel you're not welcome as a healthcare assistant or any other profession. There is a whole lot of work going on behind the scenes to ensure I come back to you with such feedback. Before we proceed with the video, I'd just like to remind you as a registered nurse that unlike healthcare assistants who can come over to the UK at the agreement of a job offer or an issue of a visa following a COS, you as a registered nurse have got certain steps to follow and criteria to meet before you are issued with a visa, even though you have a job offer. One of which is the registration with the Nursing and Midwifery Council, which is referred to as the NMC in short. I have linked a video for that as to how can you get yourself registered with the NMC if you're an overseas trained applicant, as well as how to pass the CBT, competence-based test, the one aspect of it at least, because it consists of two aspects, one of which is the CBT, which is computer-based, and the other aspect is the OSCE, which you sit for when you arrive in the country. So I have linked the two videos relating to CBT for your convenience to familiarize yourself with the process. Don't make this a recruiter's job to start educating you about the basics, the 101. I've linked the two videos for you and feel free to check them out so you can be conversant in these things and not use the time to start being educated on the basic things you could have found out for yourself. To make your life easy, I have linked those videos here. So go through them, please, read them. Whether you do it at the end of this video or before you proceed with the video is entirely up to you, but it would put you in a better position to just speak language that everyone else is speaking. The other aspect I'd like to touch on is the IELTS competence. We all need IELTS to come to the UK to work or study in the UK, particularly if you're coming as a registered nurse. The Nursing and Midwifery Council expects you to have a minimum scoring on your IELTS exam of 7. But for writing, they're slightly lenient. They are accepting a score of 6.5. So this is another requirement that you need to be aware that you need to have. It's not just for visa purposes. The healthcare assistants do it, but it's mainly for immigration purposes, and their scoring is slightly low, usually about 4 or 4.5 thereabout. So just be aware that this is another requirement that you're going to need to fulfill. Unless you perhaps have a degree that you have studied in English outside of the UK, and you can then follow the NARIC certification route, to which I have linked the video as well, and be exempt from sitting for your IELTS if you are in a certain profession. But the NMC is quite strict with the requirement for IELTS, either IELTS or OET, Occupational English Test. Those two are mostly recognized by the NMC. But if you're coming as any other thing, as any other profession, you can register for your NARIC certification. So just be aware of all those options and the requirements that you are needing to fulfill in order to be considered for such vacancies as the one that I'm going to tell you about today. Talking of IELTS, may I also encourage you to please do not use this test as a measure of who you are or a measure of your competence, of your capability. Do not let IELTS to define who you are or use it as a yardstick of whether you're a good or bad person. I'm getting a lot of correspondence with regards to IELTS. Some of the communication is quite heartbreaking, really, where people are kind of thinking of giving up because their IELTS score has not met the requirement. So I'm here to encourage you to say whether you pass it or whether you fail it, do not let it determine who you are. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're excellent or you're good, or it means that, or nor does it mean you are bad if you've not, or you are a poor performer if you've not done well at it. It's a simple, I want to say it's a simple and yet very easy to fail test, in the sense that it's not complicated. Once you sit for it, you realize just how it's not too bad, to be fair. I think there's a lot of things that play here with IELTS. The fact that it determines your way forward. There's so much at stake when you sit for your IELTS. So nerves naturally take over. If it's not nerves, concentration plays a part. But with adequate preparation, it shouldn't be a big deal. And the beauty of this opportunity I'm going to tell you about is that this recruiter runs some Zoom classes for helping you to get your IELTS scoring better, to prepare you. They don't sit IELTS for you, but they help you to prepare for your IELTS if you are that person who hasn't got it yet. But I would still say, as a person, do not outsource all this responsibility to such people. It's also important that you also equip yourself. If it were me, I'd probably be trying to get it on my own anyway before I speak to them, because you don't know how often they sit for these Zoom classes, whether these classes would sync with your own schedule or whether it's something that you'll be able to meet the requirements for in terms of data demands. They last for an hour, they last for 2 hours, they all vary. They also help you with the CBT if you don't have that. And again, I say, don't make it necessarily anybody's burden to teach you these things. Educate yourself as well. Take the initiative so that by the time you speak to them, they're just merely filling in the gaps in your knowledge, which you have acquired on your own. So they are quite unique in that sense that they do help you to prepare you at least for these IELTS and the CBT. And by IELTS, I mean the International English Language Test System. We use all these abbreviations with an assumption that everyone knows. Forgive me for using acronyms and abbreviations in places where I'll try my best to just at least mention it once, what each acronym or abbreviation stands for, so we're all on the same page. If you have not subscribed to the channel, may I ask you to subscribe for really value-adding content that I intend to bring your way as we step on the cusp and evolve together. You know, this channel is all about evolution. So we call it On the Cusp with Daphne, a place where inspiration meets evolution. So we need to evolve, and our evolution needs to be responsive. We need not to evolve for the sake of evolution, for the sake of ticking that box. We need to move with the times and be responsive and respond to the needs of the day. So please consider subscribing, consider making On the Cusp with Daphne your virtual home away from home, your one-stop shop to which you come for consultation matters with regards to coming over to the UK as any other professional immigration matters. I am here to help you and give you relevant information. If I do not have the info, I will go out of my way to make sure I provide you with the right information. We are edging closer to the main core of the day, but it's also important to remind you that, remember, there's also provision by the NMC to put your scores together for your IELTS. Say if at the first sitting you didn't perform as well and you got a minimum of 6.5 for many of the different components, and you sit for the second time and you get a similar score, they're happy to put it together so that you can meet the minimum requirement of 7 for the 3 and accept 6.5 for writing and 7 for the rest of the other 3. So just remember, there's also opportunities to sit for it twice and put your scores together. Providing they meet a certain criteria, you need to have sat for these 2 tests within a period of 6 months. You need to have done all the components in each sitting, so stuff like that. But I will touch on it on an IELTS dedicated video, which I will produce shortly. So yes, just be aware and do not despair. And let's get on to the details of the job offers I have for you at hand. So the details of the post of the vacancies are on my mobile. In between the videos and at the end of the videos, I will add the screenshots of these vacancies so you can pause the video and read for yourself what each one of them entails. But it's exciting in that they will refund a lot of your expenses. They will train you for IELTS if you're not there yet. They will prepare you for CBT. So these are people who really mean business and they want you over here. Like I said, it's time sensitive. You need to respond. I am sharing it wherever and whenever I can. So you rest assured you're not the only person that's hearing about it. So I would urge you to just be proactive, be efficient. And remember, on this channel, we don't do desperate. We don't do desperate. Don't do desperate. Is not pretty. It's not attractive. It makes us to lose our bargaining power. All we do is follow procedure. We are efficient. We're going to follow protocol and follow the template, but be efficient. Time is of the essence, but I do not want you to be desperate, because at the same time, it makes us what? Vulnerable, as you know. It makes us easy to prey on, and I never want you to be in that position. So approach this opportunity with a very even mind, clear mind, be logical, be excited obviously about it, act, but don't do desperate. Don't find yourself pleading and bargaining unnecessarily. You have the right to be here, and you are coming to provide a very essential service which is needed, hence all this trouble to pay for or to refund you or pay for any of the things that you need to undertake. So on to the business of the day. Enough talking. That background was essential. Whilst I wanted to make this a short video, but that bit of background information was necessary for me to fill you in. I'm going to be looking at this as we speak. So the first vacancies are in a private hospital. It's based in Leeds or Leicester. Salary depends on your experience, but it ranges from anything between £30,000 to £35,000 per annum, which is not too bad. A welcome bonus of £1,000. Tell me where you're watching from. How much is £1,000 for you in your currency based on today's exchange rate? I'd be so interested to know. So yes, a welcome bonus of 1,000 in first month salary. You already been given 1,000. Flight support with finding accommodation and rent paid for 2 months. Wow. IELTS 50% paid back to staff. CBT paid in full by the client. Salary 18 to 1950 pounds per hour on successful completion of your OSCE, which lasts about 8 weeks. It's very important that you understand that for as long as you've not set for your OSCE, you do not get paid the rate of a registered nurse, because admittedly you are not on the NMC register. That is the protocol for everyone that's coming to the UK since this new procedure, where there's OSCE to be set for. So whilst you're under that, some people will either pay you as what they call a band 2 or something on a different scale. But now this is just reinforcement that on completion of OSCE, you will be paid 18 to 19 pounds 50 per hour. Your OSCE will last about 8 weeks, which is 2 months, for which you are so well supported. You sit every day in class, they train you to make sure before you go and sit for the OSCE, you are ready for it. And there's also an opportunity to reset it. Your NMC is paid in full. Does it get any better? You get 20 annual leave days plus 8 bank holidays. So annual leave is included in your offer. It's quite standard, honestly, of most jobs in the UK. It's pretty standard, it's expected. Opportunities for career progression through promotion and rotation through a range of services. So you probably won't be doing just the one thing. You will rotate within the organization to acquire different skills, and that will aid your progression, your career progression. Preceptorship package. Training is available. Contribution to a pension scheme. EAP, Employee Wellness Program, is in place to offer employee support in a range of areas, depending on what you need support with. And lastly, there are free meals and parking provided for. If you speak to anyone in the UK, particularly about parking, can be a nightmare. a lot of the staff that I work with have got to leave their cars at home, and they are so keen, especially during COVID. It was such a thing that everyone got a temporary exemption and license and was allowed to park in the area where we work. But outside of that, it's quite difficult to bring your car to work if you don't live in the area, because you do not have a parking permit to park there. Parking space is such a bone of contention. So for this to be offered by your employer is such a wonderful thing. So this is but one of the two vacancies that I have. Is with a private client, and my understanding is some of it can also be mental health related. So in my videos on CBT, I do talk about the importance of choosing the correct CBT for yourself. So if you're an adult registered nurse, it could be that you need to still proceed and register as an adult registered nurse for your CBT. But if you get taken on by a client, a company like this that wants you to work in a private mental health setting, you might find that they will support you through a pathway of preceptorship to register on a mental health CBT, to register so that you pass your mental health CBT. Remember, it's got all those domains. Our CBT has got 4 domains, one of which is mental health, another one is adult nursing. So if you've registered for the one but they need you for the other, you will be supported on that pathway so that you are compliant and register with the NMC for the correct domain. For a minute, I felt as if I made it sound as though COVID is a thing of the past. When I said during COVID, I meant at the height of COVID, right at the peak. Exceptions were made with regards to parking, but otherwise COVID is still here, it's still with us. We continue with our measures, PPE, social distancing where possible. So yes, it is not a thing of the past, it's still very much with us. So let's move on to the second lot of vacancies. Following this vacancy I've just told you about, there's also a whole lot of package that tells you about what is going to be refunded. It's a bit of an exhaustive list, but I'll put it at the end of the video or in between, but I'll just run you through it briefly. So amongst many other things that are going to be refunded when you apply for this position, or at least be paid, not all of them are refunded, because it's not to say you pay for all of them. Some of the ones that you pay for will be refunded. Some you don't even pay for, they're paying for upfront. Things such as the bonus, you're not being refunded that bonus, they're paying for it upfront. Flights, they'll be paid for. NMC fee will probably be one of those refunded ones because you would have paid for it at some point. EILTS, a refund, CBT, visa, immigration skills charge. There's a whole lot. It's an exhaustive list. I will add it at the end of the video as I will do this ad. So let's move on to the second lot of vacancies, which are in the National Health Service, which we refer to as the NHS. So this lot of vacancies are in the NHS, as I said, based in London. Interviews are ongoing on a regular basis. Benefits, the NHS salary, which is around 30,000 per annum. Again, once you are NMC registered and you become NMC registered on completion of your OSCE. So 30,000 per annum once NMC registered, dependent on location, but otherwise you start as a band 4, as I was saying, band 4, not 2, and then you move on to the band 5, which is the entry level of many registered nurses in the UK. You come in as a band 5 and progress onwards to other bands. Free accommodation for a limited period of time on joining, free joining flight, reimbursement of CBT fee. Nurses do not need to have completed CBT to be considered. Wow, this is nice. Nurses do not need to have completed CBT to be considered for this vacancy. So whether you're halfway there or you're half cooked or well done, nonetheless, they want you. OSCE paid for by the hospital initially, and training provided, as I said. You will be supported throughout the process to make sure that you are OSCE compliant and OSCE ready. Visa sponsorship and visa fee paid by the hospital. Training and support with mental health CBT, mental health OSCE, ongoing support and guidance through the recruitment process. This one ends right there. I am going to post it for you. Do not worry. So these are the two. It's not to say it's 2 vacancies, but it's 2 candidates with a whole lot of vacancies they're looking to fill ASAP. Your job is to get in touch and make sure that you prepare your CV, make yourself ready for the CV, have a look at my video on how to get ready for CV. If you feel you need assistance with the drafting of the CV, I'm happy to just cast an eye over your CV. Given the experience that I have being here and speaking to recruiters, I'm happy to kind of overlook that, to just cast an eye over it and perhaps guide you. And again, your recruiter will also be happy, but make her job easy or their job, she's not alone, it's a huge company, their job easier by just also packaging your CV in an attractive way that makes them see at a glance that you are who they're looking for right at once, without them having to go through pages and pages of your CV. Check out my video on the CV, how to write your CV. So there's been so much talk on this video. Let's conclude it. So to get to know more about these vacancies, my email is on the about info of my channel. Otherwise, I'll list it on the screen on here for you to drop me an email, send me your contact details, and I shall put you in touch with the relevant people. I am rooting for you. As you know, it's time to evolve. Step on the cusp. Let's evolve. Let's grow together on this journey of self-discovery and growth. I am here to root for you. This is but one of the first lot of such vacancies. I aim to bring you more and more vacancies like that, where I am plugging you directly into the people that are so desperately looking for you, trustworthy people who are going to make it worth your while, and hopefully at a minimum cost, if anything, to you. As in the case of these two, we see that you probably don't have to pay for anything. So those are the opportunities I'd like to connect you with. But should you come across one that is expecting you to pay for one or two things, I'm not saying it shouldn't be done. I have seen people being charged for things like COS and stuff like that. So it all depends on what you come across. But I'm here to help you provide with the most value-adding information. So consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. If you have subscribed, please share this video. It will help the channel's algorithm. It will help somebody. It will help the channel to grow. I thank you for your support. I thank you for keep coming back. Let's step on the cusp and evolve. I'll continue as I continue to bring you more value-adding information. Thank you so much for your time. I will see you on the next one very soon.